following is a Comfortably Zoned Radio Network production.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Comfortably Zoned Radio Network. I'm Rob Deininger, and I'm here with Jack Degraw, and we're talking Yankees baseball. How you doing, Jack?
Good. How are you today, Robert?
Not too bad. How's everything going with you?
Oh, good. Getting ready for the final games of the regular season.
Yeah. Season went pretty quick in a way.
Yeah, the older you get, the quicker the season's going. Yeah. But it's been a very successful regular season, and I just hope it continues in the playoffs.
Yeah, the way things are shaping up, it looks like we'll probably face the Minnesota Twins in the first round of the playoffs, and in a way, it's kind of a blessing in a way. It hurts home field advantage if you move on, but Yankees are 4-2 versus the Twins this year, as opposed to 2-4 against the Athletics.
Well, I mean, the Athletics and the Rays have been playing like great baseball the last month of the season, and I mean they've just been battling to get into the playoffs. And Minnesota and the Yankees are almost the same kind of team. They both hit a lot of home runs, and the pitching can go either way. But so that should be a high-scoring affair.
Yeah, I know the last time when they played in Minnesota, when Hicks made that incredible catch to win the game for the Yankees, that was a 14-12 game. So I mean, they put up some runs when they faced each other.
Yeah, that was a great series. That game you just mentioned, Robert, that might have been the best game of the year. I mean, that was exciting from start to finish.
Yeah, and speaking of Hicks, Yankees said not to expect Hicks back anytime soon. He's I think, just now hitting off a tee. Yeah,
I think he's pretty much, done for the year. Even if he gets ready to play, I mean, you don't want to stick him in the playoffs with no at-bats in the minor leagues or anything.
Yeah, and speaking of the Twins, the Yankees last year set an MLB record for home runs with 269, and the Twins this year have 301, which is a new record. Yankees were right behind them with 299, but balls are flying out of the ballpark, especially for the Twins.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any question the ball is juiced up, and, that's what the fans want to see. They want to see home runs, but, it's starting to become a game of home runs or nothing at all. But I think to win in the playoffs, you still have to have, the big pitching, the power pitchers.
Yeah, and speaking of pitching, it looks like the Yankees, and one of the reports I saw, Jay Happ will be pitching out of the bullpen for the postseason, which he was not too thrilled about. And the Yankees are still weighing a decision on whether or not to have Sabathia on the roster to pitch out of the bullpen.
Well, I think like as we were talking off air, Robert, the first round is 3 out of 5.
Yeah.
So, Happ has pitched excellent the last 3 or 4 weeks. But the thing is, if you're going 4 out of 7, he would probably get a start in Game 4. But now, you only got 5 games, and there's a lot of decisions to be made, and they're only going to be made over 5 games instead of 7. So that's why you might see guys, get left off the roster who would be put on a 7-game roster.
Yeah, and nice battle going on with the position players is they announced that DJ will play every game of the playoffs, which means Encarnacion, Urshela, and Voit will have to battle for the final 2 spots. And right now, it looks like Voit would be the odd man out, considering he's playing with a sports hernia, and he's really only had 2 home runs since he was activated in August.
Well, the thing is, Robert, I thought Encarnacion was supposed to play all 3 games against the Twins, and I don't believe he's playing, with today's Friday, I don't believe he's playing tonight. So,
no.
Another thing, is he going to be ready for the playoffs? I mean, they got a lot of guys coming back. Is Sanchez playing tonight? Yeah,
Sanchez is in the lineup tonight. But Encarnacion's not, but they did say that he should be playing this weekend.
Well, the scary thing for me is like you have Stanton coming back, you got Sanchez coming back, you got Encarnacion, and they haven't really had a lot of at bats. And when you get in the playoffs against the better pitching, we seen that the other night. I mean, Judge and Stanton, they struck out 7 times between them, with Stanton being 4. So I mean, is Sanchez going to be ready? Is Encarnacion? Because we've seen this, happen before, from like 2002 to 2008. They play great in the regular season. They get in the playoff against better pitching, and then it's strikeout or home run, and so that's a concern.
Yeah, Stanton had a home run in his first game back, but in 12 at bats, he's got 6 strikeouts. That's half his at bats. So the strikeouts are a concern.
Yeah, when you face the better pitching in the playoffs, then you don't want any dead spots for 2 through 7, because that could happen. That's a concern also.
Yeah, and speaking of going back to pitching, Chapman, he's only pitched 4 times in September. You'd like to see the Yankees get him in this weekend, tonight, and maybe Sunday too.
Yeah, I've noticed he hasn't been hardly thrown at all. I mean, I haven't heard any trouble about a tired arm or anything, but I'm sure they'll get him in a couple games, because you don't want to go in the playoffs, because he can get wild sometimes, and if he hasn't had enough work, you get out there and it could be a 30-pitch outing.
Yeah, and being it's the playoffs, he'll be pitching in some tight games.
When is Game 1, Robert?
October 4th and October 5th at Yankee Stadium.
Now, is that next Friday?
I think it is. Let me pull up my calendar.
Because there's a lot of off time between games. I think they should get started. You play the wild card game, the next night you play Game 1. Yeah,
and next Friday is Game 1.
Yeah, that's money and the networks run Major League Baseball, but that's too much time off. 4 days is too much. It should be 2 at the most. You have a wild card game Tuesday, you play Wednesday.
Yeah. Yep. And Hap, he starts. Paxton, he starts tonight for the Yankees. He's going for his 11th consecutive win.
Yeah, for a long time there, he struggled. He might have had a little injury, but ever since then, his last 11, 12 starts, he's been incredible. He's just been spotting the ball wherever he needs to, and changing speeds, and he looks like the pitcher they expected when they got him in the off season.
Yeah, among the starting pitchers, he's got the best ERA with the 3.73.
Yeah, he's done a great job.
It'll be interesting to see who they start Game 1. I think it'd be either Paxton or Tanaka.
Yeah, right now I'm just taking a guess. It could be Paxton and I don't know, Tanaka, maybe even Severino. I mean, if he can get up to 90 pitches, on Saturday night, he might even be for Game 2. It might be all depends, if they win Game 1, who will pitch Game 2.
I didn't see Severino's last start. Did he look good?
Yeah, he looked great. He looked great Sunday against the Blue Jays. I don't think they could have been any more encouraged than the way he's looked. So if he does a good job tomorrow night, he might even be in the conversation for Friday or Saturday. He might even pitch Game 1. Who knows?
Yeah, I guess this series with Texas is really about figuring out what your roster is going to be.
Yeah, that's what's been pretty much the last 7 or 8 games. They're just getting tuned up for the playoffs. So it'll be nice when the games mean a little more.
And I think DJ LeMahieu, he's fighting for the batting title. I forget what player's ahead of him, but he's not that far behind. If he has a hot weekend, he could win the batting title for the American League.
Yeah, if he can get 6 or 8 hits in these 3 games, I don't remember the last time the Yankees had a batting leader. I remember they had Mattingly one year and O'Neill, but I can't remember the last time they had a batting champion.
Did Bernie Williams win it one year?
It could have been maybe the strike-shortened season. I think O'Neill might have won it that year. I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
That was 94, was it?
Yeah.
Because the season ended like in mid-August. Yeah, it might have been Bernie. Not really sure.
And Gleyber Torres, he's got 38 home runs. He's just 2 away from 40. He'd have to get hot this weekend, but just him hitting 38 is an incredible year for him.
Yeah, I don't know if he'll play all 3 games. It might be good with some of these guys just to sit them out because, the Yankees with the injury bug, with 3 games left, we could still see a few guys fall by the wayside. So,
yeah, it's incredible. I'm looking at their stats, and Sanchez, even though he's only played in 104 games and he's got only 390 at bats, he's hit 34 home runs and driven in 77 runs. It's pretty impressive for a guy who's been hurt throughout the year.
Well, that's the thing that makes him special, the power and the RBIs, and he's had a little trouble throwing the ball, but I think defensively he's improved a lot from last year, and the Yankees are fortunate to have an excellent player as a backup in Romine. So I don't worry about the catching position.
Yeah, and Brett Gardner, offensively this year, even though he's only batting .251, he's hit 27 home runs and driven in 72 RBIs.
Yeah, he's gotten better the last 2 months, and we say it every week, but a few months ago it didn't even look like he'd be on the team, and now he's going to have a long contract, so it'll be good to see him back next season.
Yeah, because in the beginning of the year I thought for sure this was his last year.
Yeah, well, it'll be interesting to see what happens.
And Didi, ever since the All-Star break, he's only batting .226. I was hoping he'd heat up in the second half. Yeah.
So, I know he's been in a little slump, but hopefully, he can snap out of it on Friday.
Yeah, like we talked about, the one thing that does scare me is just the possibility for a lot of strikeouts, especially if they make it to face Houston in the championship series.
Well, that's the thing. A team like the Twins, you'll score a lot of runs.
Yeah.
But, when you get in against the teams with the better pitching, you're not going to score a lot of runs. And, then you might have to, grind out some runs, go station to station and bunt the ball and move up runners. If you're just, counting on home runs all the time, you're going to be disappointed because the Astros got a great staff and Oakland's got a good staff and the Rays got a real good staff. So, that's a concern.
Yeah. Anything you looking forward to this weekend out in New York?
I'd like to see how Severino does on Saturday. That to me is what's, that's what I'm most interested about. And you want to talk some Giant football, Robert?
Yeah. One note on the Yankees tonight: they got Stanton batting second. I guess that's trying to get him a couple extra bats.
Yeah, we know he needs it, so that'll maybe he'll get 15 at bats this weekend.
Yeah, and Judge, I thought he'd have a better second half, but he's only batting around 270. I'd like to see him get going.
Yeah, he's had a pretty good season, but not what you expect from Aaron Judge.
No, only 54 RBIs. I thought a little more production out of him, but he did have that oblique strain during the season.
Yeah, and those injuries take a while to heal and stuff.
Yeah.
So, you know.
But the New York Giants, I was surprised the rookie quarterback played well. He actually played great.
Yeah, I mean, Jones looked great, and you know, the really impressive thing about it is like he didn't feel any pressure in the pocket. Even when he had all these linemen around him, you know, he just stood strong and stayed in there. And, you know, him being able to move around was, you know, a big asset. So, I mean, for the first game, he just looked fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I saw that was worrisome was, you know, he tends to fumble the ball when he gets hit. His pocket awareness, he's got to know when that pressure is there to keep both hands on that ball, because defenders nowadays, they're not just trying to sack you, they're trying to strip the ball from you as well. Yeah,
because you notice when they tackle now, that's why they miss so many tackles, because they're all trying to, you know, strip the ball away. Because if you look in the NFL, I mean, for the most part, the tackling is so-so. It's nothing exceptional.
No. And the Giants, they're going to be without their star running back, Saquon Barkley, for 6 to 8 weeks with a high ankle sprain. And I have a feeling he's going to be out the entire 8 weeks, which means Daniel Jones is really going to have to shoulder the offensive responsibilities. And their schedule is about to get tough.
Yeah, I mean, I hope, I don't know, did they sign any running backs this week?
They signed someone off of their practice squad. But they're, no matter who they have back there, Saquon Barkley is in a league of his own. He reminds me of Barry Sanders.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, maybe they'll start throwing a little more short passes now instead, because they really don't have, you know, a running game. So you might see, you know, a lot of swing passes and a lot of short passes to the, you know, the wide receivers.
Yeah, and a lot of the fans, you know, they're super hyped about Jones, and, you know, he did play really good, but those first 2-3 games are like an extension of preseason for the starters, because they hardly play in preseason anymore. So you really don't know what your team is until about week 4, week 5. Then you know who's who, and, you know, who was just, you know, pretending the first couple of weeks. And without that running game to help him out, it could get rough. Could be rough for the rookie for the next for the rest of the season. They got some tough opponents coming up, so I hope fans just temper their expectations a little bit after that first game.
Well, you know, the big thing is the defense has to step up. I mean, in the second half on Sunday, they put a lot of pressure on you know, Winston, and they stepped up in the second half. But in the first half, you know, they went man-to-man. Then the second half, they got a little more pressure, and they played a zone. And then after they got the lead, they went back to man-to-man. And if the Tampa Bay kicker didn't miss the field goal, they would have wound up losing the game. So, I mean, you know, the defense is still a great concern. They just might as well stick with the zone instead of the man-to-man.
Yeah, because I think Tampa scored on their first 6 possessions, I think, in the first half. I mean, they were up 28-10, I think, going into halftime. I think that was the score. But their defense this year has given up over 30 points in each of their first 3 games. And they've given up, I think, like 11 or 12 plays of 70 yards or more which led to a touchdown, which is just ridiculous.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's a concern.
Yeah, and Washington, even though they're not the best team in the league, I mean, they can run the ball on the Giants. And Case Keenum, he's an experienced quarterback. So, I mean, it's not going to be an easy game. I think like a lot of people think it's going to be another win for the Giants. But it's going to be a tough game Sunday.
Well, if they run the ball down the Giants won't have the ball that much. So, you know, it could turn into, you know, the Redskins might have the ball 35, 40 minutes. So, you know, they got to make some plays on defense.
Yeah, because Adrian Peterson, he's even though he's up there in age, he can still run. And the Redskins got this other running back, Christian Thompson, who's dangerous out of the backfield as a passer, as a catcher. I mean, you throw him a screen and he could take it 70 yards. So they got to watch out for that running game by Washington. Because I have a feeling Washington's going to run it down the Giants' throat, or at least try to.
Well, I mean, like I keep saying, the defense has definitely got to step up because they can't keep they can't keep playing the way they have been, and they really didn't get the answers over the off season. I mean, the defense was bad last year, and they didn't really make any improvements to the defense. This past off season.
Yeah, I mean the Giants, their linebacking core is slow. I mean, and nowadays you need speed at that middle level, and the Giants just don't have it, and they get exposed in the passing game. And the Giants secondary is really young and inexperienced. And Janoris Jenkins, he got abused by Mike Evans last week when he was matched up one-on-one.
Yeah, but they did they made some adjustments in the second half, and they got some pressure. But like I said, then for the last drive, they went back to man-to-man, and it's like, we see how that went.
Yeah, I'd like to see the Giants stick to more zones than man-to-man, especially with some of the young players they got there in the secondary.
Yeah, they still got a lot to learn, and just you do everything you can to help them out instead of just throwing them out there on an island. Yeah,
like we got Washington Sunday, and then we play Minnesota the following week, which has got a great defense, and then they got a short week and play the Patriots on Thursday night, which is going to be a brutal matchup for them. And their schedule really doesn't get that much easier going on. So we're going to find out just how good this rookie quarterback is. I think the Giants did good. I think they got their quarterback, but it's just about a learning process now.
Well, yeah, you got a rookie quarterback, and then you got the short week, and you're playing. Now, is it next Thursday they play New England, Robert? Or?
No, they play Minnesota next weekend, and then they play New England on a short week.
Okay, because that's going to be a tough order. I mean, the kid's going to have like 3 games in like 12 or 13 days, and the Patriots are playing better than they ever have. So
yeah, their defense is. Their defense just looks great, and they got a shutdown corner, and Bill Belichick, going up against a rookie quarterback, he's going to see things he's never seen before from Belichick.
Yeah. And, Belichick might be the best coach ever. So, he's always finding new schemes and new ways. So that's going to be, a tremendous challenge for Jones. And as well for the Giants, for that matter, the whole NFL.
Yeah, I mean, Bill Belichick, he's like a chameleon. Every week their game plan is so different from the week before. He attacks the other team's weaknesses. He doesn't use what makes them strong. He goes and attacks what makes you weak.
Yeah, that's what he does. He gets up in that office in New England. Yeah. He just figures out schemes, and that's his life. That's why he's maybe the greatest coach ever.
Yeah, and since the playoffs start next Friday, we'll try to do the show Wednesday.
Yeah, and hopefully by then, Robert, I don't know when they have to have the full roster in the Yankees. It might not be Thursday till 3:00. Well, we'll find out. When we do the show. But hopefully, the real season will start Friday, because the last month we've just been going around in circles because they pretty much had this clinched a month ago.
Yeah, and hopefully the Yankees can get past the divisional round, because they've been bounced out the past couple of years right away, I think, right? Or at least last year.
Yeah. Well, they won the wild card, but the 3 out of 5. If you look back, the Yankees have always had trouble with 3 out of 5. I don't know how many they've maybe won one out of the last five. I'll look it up this week, but they've really struggled in the shorter series.
Yeah, I mean, I remember back in the day against Oakland, I think in the early 2000s, I think the early 2000s, that they had some series in a 5-game series.
Yeah, the one year, that's when Jeter made the big play, and they won in 5 games. But there was a couple times, they lost to the Tigers, and they lost to California and Cleveland. So they've since 2003, they've had a lot of, getting bounced out earlier in the 5-game series.
Well, hopefully our pitching and our hitting will come together for the postseason, because I hate to have one without the other.
Yeah, well, that's what it's going to take, to go all the way. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah. So next Wednesday, Jack?
Yep, sounds good, Robert.
All right. It was a pleasure talking to you.
It's always great talking to you, Robert, and I'll talk to you again next week.
Sounds good. And for all you out there listening, have a good one.
Bye-bye now.
The proceeding has been a comfortably zoned network production. You are advised to keep your dreams wet, your humor dry, your children and grandchildren out of military recruiting offices and off the laps of clerics who wear dresses. Thank you for listening, everyone. Happy trails.